Live on YouTube, live on Rumble. Good afternoon. Welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. I'm Xander. We will be joined by the Golden Loon here shortly. And of course, you viewer are you. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. Trying to fiddle with the camera here. There we go. Get us both centered. Anyway, today is Tears' Day, aka Tuesday, March 3rd, 3/3/2026. This show is about interesting and important events that occurred today throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with the year 78, origin of the Saka era in India. Alright. 473 here, Glycerius was appointed a puppet emperor of the Western Empire by Burgundian king and Parthian Gunabard, who was deposed in 474. Alright. What else do we got here? 1284. The Statute of Rhuddlan incorporated the Principality of Wales into England. Alright. So now, good old Wales, England. Now part of it. 1476, the Battle of Toro during the War of the Castilian Succession was inconclusive. Isabella of Castile claimed a win for her and Ferdinand of Aragon against the Portuguese, ending the threat of invasion. Alright. 1585, here the Olympic Theater, designed by Andrea Palladio, was inaugurated in Vicenza. It's telling me to image search this, but here's an actual image of it. And that is a magnificent looking theater. But let's see here. Where'd the thing go? There it is. Alright, so let's image search this while we're here. Hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have been joined by the Loon.
Yes.
It told me to image search this, but it's more or less...
What is it?
The Olympic Theater. It was inaugurated. Let's see here. Where'd the thing go?
What country
There it is.
in?
The Olympic Theater in 1585, designed by Andrea Palladio, was inaugurated in Vicenza. What country? That is a good question. Let's look up Vicenza. Vicenza, Italy. Okay.
Venice.
Vicenza.
Venice, Italy?
Vicenza. It's not Venice.
Could they have misspelled it?
I'll double check. Come on, there we go. Vicenza, a commune in Veneto, Italy.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, this is a picture of the interior, and isn't that magnificent?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. What else do we got here? 1592, Trinity College, Dublin, and its library was founded by royal charter by Elizabeth I on the former site of the Priory of All Hallows. Now, what was the Priory of All Hallows? Let's look at that really quick here. Priory of All Hallows was an Augustinian monastic foundation just outside of the walls of Dublin, Ireland. It was demolished by King Henry VIII in 1592. Trinity College, Dublin was established in its place by Queen Elizabeth I. So that was the same year that it was demolished. So they got rid of it for this college. So if anybody's actually interested, let's see here. What do we got? This was the Priory of All Hallows. Copy and home button, paste. Wrong button. Hold on a second. It didn't copy this when I try to do that. Copy. There we go. Okay. Alright, moving on up. What do we got here in 1627? Dutch privateer Piet Hein attacked and conquered 22 Portuguese ships in the Bay of Salvador, Brazil. Wow. That's one hell of a haul there. Yeah, 22 ships.
Wow.
Yeah. 1634, the first tavern in Boston, Massachusetts, opened. Samuel Cole. Samuel Cole. Why does that name sound so familiar? I
don't know.
It's a settler. Samuel Cole. Why is his name so familiar? Colony, House of Entertainment, Henry Watson Longfellow, Mariners. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing him with something else, but I swear his name is in my head for something. But yeah, image search this, and this is the this is like an artist's rendition of that. I thought about putting it in the thumbnail, but ultimately I didn't because it looks a little bit boring. But here it says Samuel Cole opened the first tavern in Boston, Massachusetts in 1634. Cole's Inn was located in the Shawmut Peninsula section, now known as Downtown Crossing. The popular spot was a famous old inn that entertained many of the illustrious guests of the time.
Ah,
all right.
First inn. Pub.
Yeah. Well, the first tavern.
Tavern, yeah.
Oh.
That's a pub.
Well, yeah. 1776, U.S. or I guess American, Commodore Essex Hopkins occupied Nassau, Bahamas during the American Revolution. The first amphibious landing of the United States Marine Corps began during the Battle of Nassau. So the very first act of the USMC. All right. 1789, the first whale harpooned in the Pacific Ocean by an English ship, Amelia, off the coast of South America. And didn't we cover, like a day or so ago, like the ending of whaling in the United States? Something like that? Or at least commercial whaling?
I don't think so, but we did cover something.
I swear we did. Commercial whaling. Anyway, what else do we got here? 1791, the first U.S. Internal Revenue Act taxing distilled spirits and carriages.
Great.
Yeah.
There's the
Camel's nose.
camel.
Yep. 1791 as well. Congress established the U.S. Mint. All right. And I'm gonna say this beforehand. Yesterday, like had a lot of acts of Congress and everything. Today has the same thing. There's a lot of acts of Congress and all that stuff. So I was just thinking, they really put in the work for like a couple days, and then they take the rest of the year off or something. So
yeah.
But you're gonna see here pretty soon a lot of acts of Congress.
Wait a minute. A lot of this stuff is worked on, and then they pass it in the first of the year. It was worked on the year before, like the.
But this is the third month.
True.
And this is when Congress passes it. It gets to them and they whatever.
Oh, when they pass it, not when it becomes the law.
Yeah, no, it's not voting or anything like that.
Wait a second. No.
We'll get to it. Let me get to it.
When they pass it. Okay, I guess that could be different than when it becomes a law.
Yeah. Well, no, like
Trump's great new wonderful bill. They passed it in the summer of 25, and it became law in January 1, 26.
Well, yeah, well, the whole I'm a Bill thing from Schoolhouse Rock explains the entire process. But, when Congress passes it, it becomes law. But then it doesn't become implemented until later.
Yeah, it has a date when it's going to kick in.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's get back on track here. 1801, we have the first U.S. Jewish governor, David Emanuel, took office in Georgia. Cool.
Oh, Georgia. Okay. I'm on to the next question. Where?
Yeah.
So at least they told us.
Yep. 2 years later, the first impeachment trial of a U.S. federal judge, John Pickering, began. We also have Colegio Miller was founded in Portugal by Colonial Taxiguera Rebelo. I just find it interesting, if the city is rather old.
Yeah.
So 1805, Louisiana, Missouri territory formed. And actually, I have this, and I love how they dictate green equals land. Gee, I would have never guessed
that one out.
Blue is water. Oh wow, thank you. At least this orange thing. That makes sense.
That territory was huge.
Yeah, the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah.
Only a small section of it was just even a little bit of Louisiana, but the rest of it is all this. That was all French.
That's all the territory, yeah.
But then they have modern borders, modern Louisiana border, so that's the red border right there. And then the rivers, Mississippi River, that's the only river that's actually... Why would they only label one river and then have it in the freaking index? Or the key or whatever this is.
We talked about discovery of the mouth of the Mississippi yesterday.
Yes, we did. By European, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, the natives already knew it was there,
Well,
so...
yeah.
The majority, that's the thing, the majority of, this guy discovered this guy discovered that. No, this white guy from a European country discovered this. It had been known for 1,000 years by the people who've lived there already.
Yeah.
They didn't just discover shit.
Map it and,
yeah.
Becomes...
But for some reason, years that's when it was, whatever. Anyway, 1813, the Office of Surgeon General of the U.S. Army formed. All right. 2 years later, the U.S. declared war on Algiers for taking U.S. prisoners and demanding tribute. Oh, man, they thought they could push us around. Well, they figured out, you fuck around and you find out, as it said. 1817, Mississippi Territory was divided into Alabama Territory and Mississippi. So that's pretty interesting. So, the whole territory...
chopped it up.
It sounds like it consisted of all of Mississippi and that portion. They just chopped it there, and that's Mississippi. We're gonna cover another one of those.
Again, I go back to how it's kind of interesting.
Well, remember yesterday, the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
How the Oregon territory consisted of Washington and all of Idaho.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna cover that again. What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead. I would just. Not on the show, obviously, but it's kind of interesting how these splits and everything got decided.
Yeah, well, that's all
Yeah,
actually.
that's something else.
Well, that plays into all the stuff leading up to the Civil War. There was a northern states and the southern states for about 100 years.
Yeah.
Actually, no, not even 100 years, because like we formed in 1790, and so it was like for 30, 40 some odd years. There was a war raging in politics. The northern state would, the North would make another state so they can have another, vote in the House of Representatives, and the South would make another state to balance it out, and then make another state after that to get it one up, and it was just constant back and forth. So it's kind of like how they play around with district reallocations and all that stuff. It's that same bullshit, just on a state level.
Yeah.
They always play those little games. 1821, the U.S. trader and not the trader, Taylor. That's two different things, massively. Taylor, an inventor, Thomas L. Jennings, at the age of 30, received a U.S. patent for his dry scouring process, the forerunner of today's modern-day dry cleaning.
Dry cleaning, yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
That goes way back.
And see, to me, I wouldn't care one way or another, but some people would care. Dry cleaning was invented by a black guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Thomas L. Jennings, born in 1791, Jennings lived and worked in New York City as a tailor and dry cleaner.
Guy needs more credit, is what he needs.
Yes, he does. He invented an early method of dry cleaning called dry scouring and patented it in 1821. Jennings used the money from his invention to free the rest of his family and donate to abolitionist causes.
Oh, man.
Fucking epic!
Man.
What a guy! Wow!
Yeah.
Wow! That is awesome.
Well, of course you're going to do that for your family.
Well, I didn't
Still,
even know he
that's
did
just
that. That was, I didn't,
awesome. Yeah.
I didn't realize he had, relatives in slavery.
The point is, he got to do it.
That's
He
awesome.
made money and he got to
That
do
is
it.
awesome. That is phenomenal.
So it sounds like he bought him out of slavery.
Yeah, that's great. That is great,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
1835, Congress authorized the U.S. Mint at New Orleans, Louisiana. Coins identified with the mint mark 0.
They need to highlight him
They do.
in Black History Month.
They absolutely do.
Anytime he
Nobody
should be-
knows about that.
And
know?
maybe they do, and we don't know about it. But
Well, I mean,
He should
everybody
be
knows
highlighted
about George
somewhere.
Washington Carver inventing
Yeah,
peanut butter.
yeah.
And I know that there's other black inventors who made things that we use even today. I don't know. We gotta look into that. Well, I mean, as I said, people are people to me. I don't care what color you are, as long as what you believe in does not infringe on the rights or the health and well-being of others. Then I couldn't give a less of a shit about you.
The point being, we have labeled something Black History Month. I hope the guy gets highlighted.
Well, yeah,
It should
but
be highlighted anyways, but especially in Black History Month.
well, you know what?
It's labeled to that.
I'm gonna play this Morgan Freeman Black History. I just want to play this.
No, I've seen this, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Do you want a Jewish History Month? No.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'll just put this in
I
the
agree
IOYO.
with him 100%, but it's still there.
Well,
I hope
it's
they're
only
highlighting him.
it's only there because of the path to hell is paved with good intentions. I know what you're saying, and I agree with it. At the same time, you're also inadvertently perpetuating it. So,
No, 'cause I also
Black
said-
history is U.S. history, is world history. We're all together.
Yeah.
We got to stop segregating. Period. So, Morgan Freeman, I'm just going to add that. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, I agree with what you say, but at the same time, it's also perpetuating
And I've
the
also
existence
said
of
we
it.
should highlight him in our history.
Yes, we should.
I said simultaneously.
Yeah, we should highlight them in history, period, absolutely. 1837, Congress increased U.S. Supreme Court membership from 7 to 9. We
Okay.
spoke about that one time that it was like 8
packed
or
the
something.
court.
Yeah. 1837, U.S. President Andrew Jackson and Congress recognized the Republic of Texas. All right. 1842, we have the first U.S. child labor law regulating working hours was passed in Massachusetts. Good. On the road to creating childhood, because the whole concept of childhood is only 100 some odd years old. Before that, kids used to work. Would you mind turning that on, please? 1843, Congress appropriated $30,000, quote, to test the the practicability of establishing a system of electromagnetic telegraphs, end quote, by the U.S. So, telegraph communication, telegram, or, yeah. 1845, Florida became the 27th state of the Union.
Wow.
Cool. 45 as well, for the first time, the U.S. Senate overrode a presidential veto for Tyler.
For what?
Veto. For the first
Tyler.
time.
What's Tyler?
It was his name.
For
the first time, the United States
I
Senate
got it.
overrode a presidential veto, the president being Tyler.
Oh, the president being Tyler. Okay.
Yes. 1845 as well, U.S. Congress authorized ocean mail Congress for foreign mail delivery. I told you there's a lot of Congress, there's a Senate thing here. 47, U.S. Post Office Department was authorized to issue postage stamps.
There you go.
That's kind of needed.
New tax.
Well, I mean, like, they're authorized to use, so that doesn't say that this was when...
What do you think a stamp is?
Okay.
It's tax.
I understand what a stamp is. This is authorizing the post office to actually sell the stamps, or to issue the stamps. Meaning that possibly stamps existed before this and they did not have the right to issue the stamps, which made being a post office more difficult to work.
Well, that doesn't make sense because the government's the only one that is issuing stamps. They could run them through private enterprise, but that doesn't make
this
any
is
sense.
not saying anything about the establishment of stamps. This is saying it's
No, I didn't
authorized to use or to issue postage stamps.
Well,
Suggesting, to me at least, that before this they were not authorized to issue, so somebody had to go get stamps elsewhere to use the U.S. Post Office.
well, they may have just had to come in and pay to send the. I don't know.
I don't
I don't know the history of it, but to me, that's telling me they're figuring out how to tax you.
Yeah. 1849 Gold Coinage Act authorized a $20 double eagle gold coin and the $1 gold liberty coin in the U.S.
Okay.
And I hear about things like that all the time on stupid commercials.
Yeah,
and, 1849
yeah.
as well, the Territory of Minnesota was organized. We also have the U.S. Home Department, later renamed the Department of the Interior, was established by Congress. And speaking of Congress, in 1851, on this date, they authorized the smallest U.S. silver coin, a 3-cent piece.
Oh,
3
geez.
cents.
A silver 3-cent piece.
The smallest U.S. silver coin. I'm gonna look this up really quick just to see, because it's saying now, is it saying like monetary small or physically small? That looks physically small. To me, this looks really zoomed in. I'm trying to. Oh, of course, it has a Star of David on it. I can't seem to get a perspective on how.
Yeah, there's nothing
big
there
it
to tell
is.
you how big it is. It could be.
I mean, unless that's the size of a staple right there. That looks like a staple to me. So this is rather small.
I wish they had something next to it,
Yeah.
like a hand or something. It's anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm not finding anything. What else do we got here? 1853, Transcontinental Railroad Survey was authorized by U.S. Congress, so that way they're surveying to lay the track and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The U.S. Assay Office in New York City was authorized. What's an assay office? I keep covering those.
They lay the land out. They.
They divvy up the.
This belongs to who and whoever, and and then they.
Assay offices are institutions set up to assay and have to test the purity of precious metals. This is often done to protect consumers from buying fake items.
Something entirely different.
Upon successful completion of an assay, i.e. the metallurgical content is found to be equal or better than that claimed by the maker and it otherwise confirms to the prevailing law, the assay office typically stamps a hallmark on the item to certify its metallurgical content. Hallmarking first appeared in France with a goldsmith statue of 1260 promulgated under Etienne Boileau, Provost of Paris, for King Louis IX. All right.
And I have the wrong word. Assay is, the purity of your golds or silvers or whatever. But I must.
Well, now I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to talk about.
There's another word for that.
Are you talking about like zoning or something? Or...
Yeah, where they're surveying the land and
Wouldn't
all
that be administration?
Well, no, but they're putting it down. They're saying who owns what, how's it work, whatever.
Well,
so it has a name.
Well, if anybody can answer, and please let me know. Let us know in the comment section. We gotta keep on going. 1855, the U.S. Congress approved $30,000 to test camels for military use. And right here, the camels are coming. See the U.S. Camel Corps. So we actually had.
A camel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, and this was like in the 1850s, but like we were expanding into like the deserty regions of the Southwest. So for a time, the military was like fighting the wars against the natives and Mexico and all that stuff. We had camel units, and I think we even did in World War One, when before really mechanized warfare or any of that. But there was like war in Africa and all that stuff, but that was mainly done by the indigenous people over there. Like most of Europe was in Europe and all that stuff. As opposed to in World War II, we started in Africa and then ended up in Europe. Because Germany had completely conquered all of Europe, mostly, between that and Italy. So, anyway, what else? Oh, yeah, and I wanted to show this as well. I love this meme. Camouflage. Well, now, 1855 as well, U.S. Congress authorized registered mail. All right.
Yeah.
59, the two-day Great Slave Auction, the largest such auction in United States history, concluded. We spoke about that yesterday. And thank goodness we don't have to talk about it anymore. Alexander II of Russia in 1861 signed the Emancipation Manifesto, freeing serfs and granting them full rights as free citizens. The old style was February 19th. I think we covered this on February 19th, because I remember covering something like this and looking up serfs and all that stuff. And then it said new style was March 3rd. I remember reading that.
Oh, okay.
So that would be today.
Yeah.
1862, Union forces under General Pope laid siege to New Madrid, Missouri, U.S. Civil War. I didn't realize Pope could be a last name. General Pope. And I'm not making it up. It's on the source right here.
Sure it can be, but that's
I've never heard of that. 1863, first U.S. wartime military conscription bill was enacted. Gotta get soldiers somewhere. We also have Abraham Lincoln approve the charter for National Academy of Sciences. All right, good. We need to expand sciences. Congress, here we go again, authorized a U.S. mint at Carson City, Nevada. Coins identified with mint mark CC. All right. 1863 as well, we have free city delivery replaced zone postage. 449 letter carriers were hired. All right, that's nice. Gold certificates for currency authorized by U.S. Congress.
We talked about that. $2 gold certificate or something?
That
Something
was... Oh, I guess so, but wasn't that like much earlier?
Well, it wasn't today, but it was, I don't know how long ago it was. It wasn't too awfully long ago.
Well, are you sure you're not confusing it with like the British thing? Because we covered the British something yesterday, Bill. Some kind of note. We also have the IOYO territory was incorporated from parts of an area split from Dakota, Nebraska, and Washington territories. Now consists of states of Idaho, Montana, and most of Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
Cool. And 1863 as well. What a busy day. U.S. Congress authorized track width of 4 feet 8.5 inches for Union Pacific Railroad. So we have to have standardized rail for the entire.
So everybody's will fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting, to establish this point, and I'm not sure if they still have this issue or not, but the rail between Spain and France was different. So every train going, between those two countries, they actually had to fully unload one train, whether it's passengers or even cargo, and then load it up on the other one, just because it's just different.
Couldn't cross country lines.
Yeah,
couldn't.
Well, it's not that not because of legality issues, but because the rails were different. Yeah. So, 1865, opening of the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, the founding member of the HSBC Group. You should know about them.
Why should I know about them?
Well, I mean, they're rather known. The HSBC, yeah. They're you'll recognize this here in a minute. HSBC, come on, bigger. There we go. This.
Nope.
They're a large group in China. All right. 1865, the U.S. Bureau of Refugees, Freedom, and Abandoned Lands established by Abraham Lincoln to help destitute free blacks. All right, good.
Oh, there
you go. Yes, great. 4 years later, University of South Carolina open to all races.
Hey, what a thought.
Progress. 2 years more.
And get in on your merit.
Yes. 1871, U.S. Congress changed Indian tribe status from independent to dependent. Wait a minute. We're taking steps back here. Hold on. I don't like that. But we also have U.S. Congress established a civil service system. They're probably trying to get the natives to be on welfare. So that was probably their first target before they went to the blacks. 1873, U.S. Congress and government retroactively raised their own salaries. Oh, gee whiz. And U.S. Congress authorized federal department postage stamps. All right. More Congress stuff. Enacted the Comstock Law, making it illegal to send any, quote, obscene, lewd, or lascivious, quote, end quote, books through the mail. Okay.
That's not fun.
Yeah. Obscene literature and articles of immoral use. But who's to say?
Well, there's your problem. That's always the problem. Who
pretty,
decides?
I'm pretty sure that got stricken down because that's unconstitutional.
Eventually.
Yep. 1875, we have the first recognized hockey game was played at the Victoria Skating Rink in Montreal, according to the International Ice Hockey Federation, though it likely occurred much earlier.
Ah.
Yeah, but here it's Idaho territory. We spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah.
And it says to Nebraska territory, 1861. So this went to the Nebraska. This went to the Nebraska territory. This section, and then this section went to the Idaho territory, and then eventually Idaho, became this, and all that stuff. So that's cool. And then here's a picture, an artist representation of that ice hockey thing. But another image that I want to show, something that was kind of interesting here, is, let's see, is that these guys, this almost looks like a photograph, but they're all in stripe. They almost look like prisoners, at least these guys. The black shirts with the thin white stripes, it looks weird. Mm-hmm. But the white shirts with the fat black stripes, that looks like prisoners.
Yeah, it's a uniform, though.
Are they all wearing berets? Looks like...
I can't see from back here.
They're wearing something. This guy has, like, one of those hats or whatever. What else do we got here? 1875, Georges Bizet's last and greatest opera, Carmen, premiered at the Opera Comique in Paris, France. Very well-known stage play.
Yeah.
1875, we have U.S. Congress authorized a 20-cent coin lasting only 3 years. And I wanted to bring up, like, the $2 bill, when we spoke about the 3-cent coin.
Yeah.
The 3-cent coin, can you imagine? 1877, Rutherford B. Hayes took oath of office privately as official inauguration day fell on a Sunday. Man, that has to be a bitch. You become president, but you can't even have your time to shine? That sucks. 1878, Treaty of San Stefano, signed by Russian and Ottoman empires, granting independence to Bulgaria after 500 years of Turkish rule. Nice. What else we got here? 1879, the first female lawyer heard by the U.S. Supreme Court, Belva Ann Bennett Lockwood. Cool. 1882, New York Steam Corps began distributing steam to Manhattan buildings, and steam, massively. Like, there's videos out there explaining all the different stuff under the ground, and it's not just electrical wires or sewage, plumbing, obviously, the subways and all that stuff, but it's just the miles of pneumatic tubes and steam pipes, and there's just so much stuff under the ground in Manhattan and everything. It is amazing how they make everything work. I mean, so, and this is when it actually started really distributing. So they had finished building at least the initial setup. 1883, Congress authorized the first steel vessels in the U.S. Navy. Oh. All right. 1885, the first U.S. state established a permanent forest commission, the state being California. Of course, we would establish a forest commission.
Oh, okay.
So, it's another body of government. That's Afuela. American Telephone and Telegraph, AT&T, Incorporated.
Yeah, okay.
Now, that's weird, because are telegraphs even a thing? Shouldn't we just call it AT now? I mean, American Telephone.
There's still telegrams.
Telegraphs?
Well, a telegram, it goes through a telegraph.
But this is not American. Okay. Anyway, this is an image I want to read here. Open image in your tab. A U.S. multinational telecommunication headquartered in Texas, is the third largest company in Texas. They began their existence as Southwestern Bell Corporation, one of 7 regional bell operating companies created in 1983, and the divestiture of parent company American Telephone and Telegraph Company, founded in 1885, later AT&T Corp. Revenue of $126.7 billion as of 2011.
But the same question arises. Is there still a telegraph system, or can you still get a telegram?
Well, telegrams are physical things lettered.
They print it out off the telegraph system. So that's a good question. If the telegraph system is still operational,
let us know in the comments section, if it is. Well, moving up, 1885 as well. U.S. Congress passed the Indian Appropriations Act. Indians wards of federal government. Wow, that sounds awful. Didn't we cover this? Like, is this the same year? No, it's not. Because, yeah. U.S. Post Office offered special delivery for first-class mail.
Oh, there you go.
1887, U.S. or I guess American Protective Association formed. It's anti-Catholic in Clinton, Iowa. That sounds.
That doesn't sound good.
That sounds unconstitutional. Anne Sullivan began teaching 6-year-old blind and deaf Helen Keller. This is when she started.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is not when she did the whole water thing, because it took a while, and because when she initially, and I just saw this the other day, like a portion of a video I was seeing, they went into a little bit of the whole Helen Keller thing, and she was teaching her because she's blind and everything. Like, imagine this is a cup. She puts a cup in her hand, and then she spells it, C-U-P, cup, But then she puts a cup of water, and then she's like, okay, this is water. Well, all she's feeling is the cup.
Yeah.
She gives her a cup of milk. She says, this is milk. All she's feeling is the cup. So that's why the whole thing, water, is such a big deal beyond how we already know it. Because up until then, she was confusing cups with any liquid you use in a cup. But then that was the distinction, finally, not just her understanding what it is and being able to say it as a blind and deaf person, but, it's beyond what she already knew. It's like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. So.
Major breakthrough.
Yeah. 1889, U.S. President Harrison announced the government would open the 1.9 million acre tract of Indian Territory for settlement precisely at noon on April 22nd. All the land we stole from the natives. 1891, the penalty spot kick rule in association football was conceived, but did not come into effect until the next season. It's telling me an image search this. What are you going to say?
Spot kick.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up here. And this is an image of that Anne Sullivan, I think, with Helen Keller.
Oh.
Spot kick images. Here we go. FIFA penalty kick rules. Okay, so it's like a free throw, but for soccer. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Penalty kicks rules. Only chooses kicker can near penalty area. Goalie cannot move before the kick. No fake kicks or dribbling. If shot rebounds, play is live. Okay. What else we got here? 1891, U.S. Congress created the Court of Appeal, and it also created the Office of Superintendent of Immigration, Treasury Department. They also established the Office of Immigration, and while all that was going on, the Yellowstone National Forest was established as the first national forest in the U.S. and the world. Not to be confused with First National Park that we covered yesterday, I think, with Yellowstone.
Yeah.
That's a park, this is a forest.
Different.
Yeah. And then there's, state and federal and all that stuff. A whole slew of different branches. 1892, first cattle tuberculosis test in the U.S. was made in Villanova, Pennsylvania. All right, yeah, we want healthy cows. So.
Yeah.
1893, U.S. Congress authorized the first federal road agency in the Department of Agriculture. Cool. U.S. Mint issued Queen Isabella commemorative silver quarter in conjunction with the World's Columbian exhibition. All right, that's pretty cool right there. 1894, the New York Atlantis, the first Greek language publication in the U.S. began. All right, so now the Greeks can, read in their own language. That's cool. In 1899, George Dewey became the first in the U.S. to hold the rank of Admiral of the Navy. He looks like an admiral. 1899 as well, U.S. Congress authorized Lafayette's silver dollar. There's so much Congress, authorizations and all this and all that. 1901, U.S. Congress, here we go again, created the National Bureau of Standards in the Department of Commerce. Now this is standing, puffering and just making shit to, making seats just to have seats for the sake of having seats for butts to fill, So, 1903, North Carolina became the first state requiring registration of nurses. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, 1904, Emperor Wilhelm II of Germany became the first person to make a sound recording of a political document using Thomas Edison's cylinder. So somewhere out there, if it still exists, I hope it does. But Emperor Wilhelm II, his voice is recorded on probably a wax cylinder.
Yeah, whatever those cylinders were.
Yeah. 905, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia agreed to summon a constitutive assembly and concluded other points, including an edict of religious toleration, relief for Jews, and the cancellation of certain debts. All right. We also have the U.S. Forest Service forms. All right. 906, the Voya 1 aircraft built by Romanian Traian Vula was tested in France. I gotta take a look at this bird here. 1906 aircraft. So, look at that. Was this the one with the flappy wings?
I don't know. You flipped around. I didn't see it.
No.
You're talking about that there?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look. Does it have flappy wings? I can't really tell. Or is it like a fixed wing?
Looks more fixed to me.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like hold on a second. Let's see if I can find it. Airplane scene, you decide. Why do I even remember all this? Oh, here it is. Hold on a second. Like there's this is old footage from old aircraft. Like actual testing of old aircraft concepts and all that stuff before the Wright brothers, and superimposed over right there. There's some guy with a flappy wings and trying to jump off. There's a guy on a motorcycle. I guess I was thinking of something. Yeah, look at that. They're trying to take off with it. What the hell was that thing? So, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, what did it flap to achieve, lift, and it had a big old propeller in the front, for propulsion. I don't know. 1910, John D. Rockefeller Jr. announced his retirement from managing his business so that he can be devoted full-time to being a philanthropist at the Rockefeller Foundation. All right. 1911, first U.S. federal cemetery with Union and Confederate graves opened in Missouri. So I guess this is before Arlington. Like when did Arlington open, actually? I want to know.
No idea.
When did Arlington National Cemetery open? 1864.
Okay, so way
before Arlington
that.
National Cemetery. So I guess, why you wouldn't bury soldiers who fought in the Civil War in the Arlington National Cemetery is beyond me.
Well, this one is for North and South soldiers.
Yes, that's what Arlington National Cemetery is on the grounds that was Robert E. Lee's plantation.
Okay.
That was Robert E. Lee's house, and he was the greatest general of the South. So why would they open another cemetery for soldiers who fought in that war and not bury them in the very ground that they fought and earned again?
I can't answer that.
Like, I'm just
saying that maybe they didn't recognize Southern soldiers because they split from.
That would make sense. Yeah, Southern soldiers probably would not have the honor of being buried there. So probably true. But yeah, but they have Union people there, I guess, just to have something other than just Confederates,
Well, yeah, so they're opening up to all soldiers.
Yeah.
Really.
1913, you see, that's great. We've worked it out, possibly. Maybe,
we don't know.
That's why I said possibly. 1913, women's suffrage procession through Washington, D.C., organized by Alice Paul and Lucy Burns and led by Inez Miliband. Ida B. Wells marched with her Illinois delegation despite blacks being told to march in a separate section. Wow, you can't even you can't even freaking march together. Well, of course not. That's the last thing that the system wants is all the people actually working together. They want to keep us separate. So, 1915, U.S. National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, was created, the predecessor to NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Or never a straight answer, depending on how you view it. 1917, the first major strike of the Russian February Revolution started at the giant Pulitov factory in Petrograd, the old style being February 18th. 1917 as well, German Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann publicly admits the Zimmermann telegram is genuine. Revelation generates support for the U.S. declaration of war on Germany in April. So next month in 1917 is when we declared war, and it took roughly a year to get our soldiers there, and then, as people like to say, me included, the war didn't end when we got there. The war ended because we got there. So, but we got to hand it to France and Britain and all that stuff for holding the line for the entire time. So we can't just go in there and say hoorah, wave our star-spangled ding-dong around as if we're the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. If it wasn't for France and Britain and all that stuff, there wouldn't have been a ground for the U.S. to come and save. They just needed an extra help. So we got to give credit where credit is due, is what I'm saying, across the board. 1917, Mexico and the U.S. renewed their diplomatic relations, probably because of the Zimmerman telegram. So, 1917 as well, U.S. Congress passed the first excess profits tax on corporations. Good.
There we go.
Good. Like if you're making that much money, then maybe you should...
What's too much money?
Well, if you're making that much of a profit, okay, then you can reduce the price and make things easier and make the entire economy better.
Well, who says they're making too much profit?
Well, when you're making $1 billion in pure profit, that's you can.
Well, there's no number there.
Not here, but like whatever.
And you're picking a number.
Well, okay. What I'm saying is like corporations like McDonald's.
Yeah.
They made like billions of dollars in pure profit. Like that's not they made billions of dollars. No, they made so much money that the amount of money that they made on top of their expenditures, their pure profit margin is in the billions. They can afford to hire people. They can afford to provide jobs. They're just greedy, plain and simple. No come-ons. What's right is right. People have the right to work. 1918, facing internal counter-revolutionary pressures and external German offensive, Bolsheviks forced to sign harsh treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany and Austria. All right. 1919, the first international air mail service from the U.S. to Seattle to Victoria, British Columbia. All right, so air mail through the air.
Yeah.
That's awesome. 1920, Montreal Canadiens scored an NHL record 16 goals, beating Quebec Bulldogs. I'm certain that that record has been since passed, but
I'm sure it has.
Yeah, but every now and then, like, because I try to keep that in mind. Like, I don't want to label every record broke because so many records have been broke so many times. But
records are made to be broken.
Yeah. Well, not if they're vinyl ones. Like if you break them, you can't hear them that well. So, nothing, no humor.
Unless you're the manufacturer, then you want to be broken. But then you got to come back and buy another one.
True. 1921, the Asiatic Inquiry Commission, established by the South African government, proposed a system of voluntary reparation and segregation of repatriation. Voluntary repatriation and segregation of Indians and prohibited Indians from buying agricultural land in a specified area along the coast. What?
That sounds like crap.
What the hell? So you can voluntarily repatriate, but then you get nothing anyway? So what's the point? I guess that is the point. They don't want Indians there, but they're trying to play it off as if they're giving them something. I don't know. Politics is so stupid. 1923, Time magazine published its first issue featuring Joseph G. Cannon, Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. All right. 23 as well, U.S. Senate rejected membership of the International Court of Justice, The Hague. All right. 24 as well, Sono Casey's Juno and the Paycock premiered in Dublin. Paycock.
I don't know what that is.
Like, is it supposed to be a play on peacock or something? I mean, there it is right at Paycock. So it's not as if I'm doing something cute, and it's from the actual source. 24 as well, the 407-year-old Islamic Caliphate was abolished when Caliph Abdullah Masih II of the Ottoman Caliphate was deposed. The last remnant of the old regime gave way to the reformed Turkey of Kemal Ataturk. All right, good. 24, the Free State of Fiume was annexed by the Kingdom of Italy. Apparently not the Free State anymore. 1 century ago, 1926, International Greyhound Racing Association was formed in Miami, Florida. That's dog racing, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
I mean, unless it's bus racing. So, 31, the Star Spangled Banner officially became the U.S. national anthem by congressional resolution. Lyrics by Francis Scott Key in 1814 were set to John Stafford Smith's 18th century tune, The Anachronistic Song. Yep. So that's the one based off of a British drinking song, I believe. One of them is. 1931, Cab Calloway recorded Minnie the Moocher, jazz's first million seller.
Wow, yeah. He's a great one. Cab Calloway.
Yep. 1934, Don Dillinger broke out of jail using a wooden pistol.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it in a movie or what, but I've heard about it.
Well, it's a historical fact, maybe.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, like, there's so many things that have been proven wrong. So, I mean, like, it doesn't take much for folklore and urban legends to turn into what some believe are facts. 1935, Dutch Revolutionary Socialist Workers' Party, the RSAP, formed. That's not good. 1938, U.S. Bowling Congress's largest tournament, 24,765 competitors. Wow.
Oh, good grief.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
38 as well, oil was discovered in Saudi Arabia, and so it begins.
Yeah.
1939, Mahatma Gandhi began a fast in Bombay to protest against autocratic rule in India. All right. This guy knew how to protest. He doesn't go around and burn things down and impede on other people's lives and glue his hands to the sidewalk or sit in the fucking freeway or accuse this of racism or that of sexism. No. He sits there and, hurts himself and pleads on the humanity of others to do the right thing. Not by forcing them to, but by getting them to utilize their own conscience and making it their decision to do the right thing. That's how you protest. 1940, 5 people were killed in an arson attack on the offices of the communist newspaper Flammen in Luleå, Sweden. All right. 1942, we have the first combat flight for the Canadian-British-built Avro Lancaster bomber. I'm going to have to look that up. This is, I think, that national park or forest or something that we talked about.
Forest.
Look how beautiful that is.
Yeah, it is.
Like the cliff along the river.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a scene right there. Oh, and here's the women marching in Washington, D.C. So, women strike for peace. So they're...
And the blacks had to march
separately. This was the one where, they didn't, but they were told to, but they ended up not segregating their marches, which is good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's take a look at this bird. Images. Ooh. Let's see here. That looks cool. That's a solid-looking bomber. Huh. What else do we got here? 1943, Battle of Bismarck Sea. The Australian and U.S. Air Forces devastated a Japanese Navy convoy. All right. 1943 as well. Actually, I'm going to skip ahead quite a bit because I'm going to move on up into... Because we're 13 minutes until our hour, so I'm going to move us up into the 80s here. 1986, the Australia Act 1986 commenced, causing Australia to become fully independent from the United Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Nice. We also have 1991, Latvia and Estonia voted to become independent of the USSR. All right. Oh, I want to read this one. I just saw this guy's name here. 91, Iraqi generals and U.S. generals Storm and Norman Schwarzkopf met to discuss Gulf War ceasefire.
Yeah.
Storm and Norman, what a name. It's a real shame. I just skipped over 20 years, but, we got to keep going. Oh, here we go. 91, Los Angeles police officers severely beat motorist Rodney King. The beating was famously captured on amateur video and later led to riots when the police officers were acquitted.
Yeah.
So, well, what a lot of people don't understand is, now I'm not saying, and I absolutely do not say that Rodney King deserved to get beat, but he was not an angel. He did something to piss those cops off at that point, and then that's when the cameras turned on. Nobody ever sees the bully. They only see somebody reacting. They never see the initial cause.
But way out of hand.
It was way out of hand. So, but to go there and riot, all this stuff, because that's on the pretense that they just out of nowhere just ass kicked him out of the sky. No, not every ass kicking drops out of the sky.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, 91, Switzerland voted on lowering voting age from 20 to 18. Okay. I mean, if you that's what we have. I still say that there should be an omni license. Your right to access the internet, to your right to drive, your right to buy alcohol, tobacco, firearms, your right to vote, everything in one sweeping flow, 23 or older, because that's when your brain is almost done developing. At 18 years old, we give people the right to vote, but if they're in high school, they still got to ask permission to go to the bathroom. Are you out of your fucking mind? Something's weird. 1992, charges were filed in Florida against New York Mets Darryl Boston, Vince Coleman, and Dwight Gooden of Struggle Snuggle, though dropped in April. Okay. Gas exploded in a coal mine at Zonguldak, Turkey, causing 263 fatalities. Yikes. I'm going to move on up a little bit more here. 1997, the tallest freestanding structure in the Southern Hemisphere, Sky Tower in downtown Auckland, New Zealand, opened after 2.5 years of construction. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
1998, Bill Gates testified at a Senate Judiciary Committee about Microsoft's dominant position in the software industry. There should, although, there really should be an option when buying a computer, what operating system you want. Because Linux is out there. Right out of the chutes, you get Windows, and now you have to expel efforts, which, it shouldn't really be that thing, but first world problems. They're banking on you being too lazy to want to install a different OS, and thus, if you buy a PC, it's a Windows monopoly. Or if you buy something else, it's a Macintosh, Apple's monopoly. It's a dual monopoly. At the end of the day.
I remember this hearing, at least seeing the highlights on the news, and a senator asked, who in here has Microsoft as their operating system? Everybody raised their hand. Then the guy just turns around and says, that's a monopoly.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yep. We're going to move on up to the next millennium here. 2005, the Mayerthorpe incident. James Roscoe murdered 4 Royal Canadian Mounted Police constables during a drug bust in Rochford Bridge, Alberta, then self-deleted. This is the deadliest peacetime incident for the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, since the 1885 Northwest Rebellion. Wow. 2005 as well, Steve Fossett became the first person to fly an airplane around the world solo without any stops or refueling. How? Completed a journey of 40,234 kilometers or 25,000 miles in 67 hours and 2 minutes. Without refueling, though, how? Wow, how do you... can you imagine the amount of preparation you have? Because every...
What preparation?
Well, I mean, because...
How do you get enough fuel to go around the world?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because the longer you go, the more fuel you need, but that makes you heavier, which has more demand on fuel, and it's a constant escalation.
Was this just a one-man glider type thing, or?
You know what? I'm gonna image search. Come on, I'm gonna surface level scratch this really quick, just on the image search, just to see if it shows us this craft. No, it's some kind of jet thing. So, but how do you fit enough fuel on that?
I don't know.
Wow, I mean, it's small. But then again, once again, it's small. How did he fit enough fuel on that to fly the... Oh, wait, it's a balloon. Around the world in the balloon. June 19th. No, this is... Oh, well, from June 19th to July 2nd. So that's not this one.
I don't know what that is.
That's a balloon.
Maybe that's something else he did.
Yeah.
Well, we got that aircraft in the back there, but...
Yeah, well, we have 2 different things. This is the balloon here. You can see that. But then we have a jet thing. So...
we have another down balloon. Below? Could that be it?
This is another type of craft.
Yeah, see that could
No,
be
that's the same one. That's the jet thing.
Oh.
Right there.
Well, maybe it goes 300-400 miles on a gallon. Or 1,000 miles on a gallon.
Well, why doesn't everything fucking else either then, what the hell? Anyway, moving on up, let's just rattle off a couple here. Okay, this one's... I'm gonna read these 2. These ones are kind of bad, but 2012, a lorry crash. You know what a lorry is?
Yeah.
A truck?
Yeah.
Okay, this one's weird. A lorry crash in East Guinea killed 50 and injured 27. So that sounds wild. How can a truck crash kill that many people? Okay.
Crashed into something.
Yeah.
Crashed into it. Yeah.
But then on that same day in 2012 as well, 2 trains crashed in Poland, killing 16 with up to 50 injured. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, that's weird.
So how did this have because usually
pretty hard to kill 50 people with a truck.
Yeah, and then usually injuries are 2 to 3 times more the fatality rate. Yeah. So this 16 to 50 makes more sense. But how can 2 trains kill less people than a truck? They're trains. So yeah, truck crash was deadlier than the train one. What the hell? That's weird. 2013, a 2-year-old U.S. girl became the first child born with HIV to be cured. All right.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, this one's cool. 2015, Under the Dome, a documentary on pollution in China by Chai Jing, had been viewed over 150 million times in 3 days on Tencent. So that's the Chinese thing. So that's probably when they started really cracking down on stuff, because this was 2015. Tencent is a Chinese thing. This is, and so you have 150 million people viewing a documentary on pollution in China on a Chinese device. So no wonder they're going to crush down on that with the iron fist of Thor. 2018, the Emoji Movie was named the worst film in 2017 in Razzies Awards. Now, you know what emojis are, right?
I know the word, but I don't know what they are.
Like, well, I'll just show you. Like, the stupid, the thumbs up.
Show me, yeah.
Like, or the happy face or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Those are emojis, yeah.
Yeah, emojis.
Yeah.
Like right here. Like, these are the stupid, New Age era hieroglyphics. They made a movie off of this shit. Now, I'm going to show you. Emoji Movie. This is absolutely horrendous. Whoever thought this was a good idea should be lined up on a wall, and the rest is up to your imagination. But, yeah. So, they actually made a movie off of hieroglyphics. Absolutely ridiculous. 2019, SpaceX's Dragon capsule successfully docked with the International Space Station during its demonstration run. That is great. So, this one, I gotta read. This one's wild. 2020, Iran released 54,000 people from prison to avoid the spread of Kung Flu, as the country reported 77 deaths and 2,300 cases, including 24 members of parliaments infected.
It sounds like the opposite thing of what you should
do. Wow. Oh. And I'm just going to read one or two more here. I got to read this one. 2024, Iowa's Caitlin Clark became the NCAA Division I all-time career scoring leader, surpassing Pete Maravich's career total of 3,667. Her 35 points in win over visiting Ohio State brought her total to 3,685 and counting.
Well, wait a minute. We read that yesterday.
Okay, well, did we?
Yes. Yesterday or the day before. I remember days.
It wasn't yesterday. We didn't even get to the 2000s yesterday. We only halfway through.
Well, it could have been the day before, but I remember you reading that exact thing.
Huh. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because we've covered Caitlin Clark several times before, and there's been so many articles about points, this and that, records. So.
But I don't remember the whole thing. I just remember, passing Pete Maravich.
Huh.
That's weird.
Okay. All right. Well, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar of the description for any links that you may find interesting, but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. Please check our sources, for all our stuff. A lot of history has and continues to be made every day. We couldn't even bring you all of a portion. We only brought you a portion of a portion, of what we had. Same as yesterday. So much history. This is all the stuff that happened on this calendar date, March 3rd, believe it or not. So please go check our sources. Continue your path of self-education. It is up to you to find the artifacts of our history, but only if each individual reaches out with and for open mindfulness, with a yearn to learn, to see outside what you think you know, to grow and find enlightenment. We have to find common grounds with those who see their opinions differently, because I'm okay.
You're okay.
From your own, and find a better way to be better to one another, and you're also okay. For your dose of passive and daily, we stream every day at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I'm AO Xander.
Golden Loon.
And you, of course, are you. Thank you very much for coming in and watching us, and until you catch us next time, whenever it is, wherever it is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! I'm going to get some cinnamon rolls.
Oh, I saved you too.